What's up, YouTube family? I'm back at the drawing table. Welcome to my channel, and for those who've been here before, welcome back. A couple weeks ago, I made a video called The Secret to Drawing Better, and that secret was just showing up. Because in order to get better, you have to show up, right? You have to do it in order to get better at it. No matter how many videos you watch, how many how much you watch people, do tips and tricks. If you're not doing it yourself, you're not really getting better at it, right? So, so this video is going to be about just one of the second most important ingredients to getting better at drawing, right? And that ingredient is repetition, right? Repetition. You need to draw things over and over and over and over again. Mind numbing repetition, right? So whenever you learn something, you want to commit it into your long-term memory, right? So in order to do so, you need to repeat those things. You need to draw it over and over again. It's not enough just to be able to draw it. So like whenever you draw something and you draw it well, what you want to do, instead of thinking that, okay, I'm able to draw this, I've mastered this skill, you want to redraw it again and see if you can create consistency in drawing whatever you're drawing at that moment, right? So you want to be able to replicate that over and over and over again to that same level or higher, right? So once you get to a point where you can draw something very well or fairly well, what you want to do is reprove to yourself over and over again that you can draw that thing, right? And by doing this, you create a stronger connection in your brains. You have like a stronger neuron connection in your brain, and it'll start committing those things to long-term memory, right? So, because what kind of happens when you learn a new thing, or you learn how to do something new, if you stop doing it, especially when you first learn it, it starts to fade. And if you don't come back to it early enough and often enough, after a while, you'll find when you try to do it again, you're back at square one, or you're not nearly as good as you was when you was first practiced it, right? So it takes a very long time to get to where it kind of gets into that long-term memory where you can kind of do it on command and not have to put too much brain power, too much focus in doing it. So think about all the stuff that you have committed into your long-term memory, to where you don't have to really think about doing it. Like, so a good example is something like tying your shoe, right? You maybe learned how to tie your shoe when you was very young, and it was kind of hard for you to do, kind of hard for you to wrap your head around, but you did it over and over again. You worked at it, and then eventually you got really good. It got committed into your long-term memory of how to tie a shoe, and now you're probably at a point to where you can tie your shoe and carry a conversation, right? Because it doesn't take much focus for you to be able to tie your shoe. You can think about something like driving a car. For those of you who drive, you probably remember when you first started driving a car. It was a lot, right? Like you had to learn how to maneuver the vehicle, learn all the buttons and the gears. You had to read the signs, right? It was just a whole lot to take in. And after driving for a few years, it's is like second nature, right? Like you can drive, listen to music, and catch all the signs, or have a conversation while you drive, right? So it just becomes much easier for you to do, and it doesn't require as much focus. So this is what the repetition is going to do for you. So by repeating the same things over and over again, you're going to make it to where it's less brain power required in order for you to do those things. So that's how you watch people who are very good at art, and they can just pump out these very intricate drawings, right from their head, right? Because they don't have to think about it that much. It's not much brain power required for them to just go in and draw these intricate pictures. That's why I don't know if you ever listen to some artists. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is my go-to pose," right? Like say if they out and they're drawing in public, they have like certain go-to poses that they do because they've practiced those go-to poses. They've repeated them so many times that it's second nature, so they can pretty much draw any character in, say, their go-to poses. They can have, they might have 5 or 6 go-to poses that if somebody just asked them to draw something on the spot, they could do it, right? So by creating this repetition, or by doing this repetition, it's going to create long-term memory, right? It's going to strengthen those neurons in your brain to whatever you're drawing, right? So that means anything, all the different things that you want to learn in drawing, all the things that you want to get better at, you want to repeat them over and over and over again. You want to keep proving to yourself that you know how to do it, right? Just keep proving to yourself that you know how to do it, right? So that could be something like drawing from a reference, right? So you may start with the reference, like say you're practicing shoulders or hands. Let's say shoulders. I'm practicing shoulders right now. So let's say you're practicing shoulders, right? So you might start with a reference, drawing those shoulders over and over again, learning the different moving parts, how they move, how things move around it, because like the proximity, like say when you move your arm up, certain other muscles gonna move as well. And you just practice drawing those things and commit those things to memory. And then you might, after drawing it, repeating it so many times from reference, you might start to be like, okay, I'm starting to remember these things. Can I remember how they look from my imagination, right? And you can start trying to draw them from imagination and repeat them over and over again till you start to get them right in your imagination, right? And then you start to really develop a strong sense of how a shoulder looks, how it moves, which ways it can move, like what happens when you move your shoulder up, like say what happens to the chest muscle when you raise your shoulder, or the lats or the delts, or whatever. Like you start to get a strong feel for the motion and the movement and how to construct a shoulder, right? You just want to repeat that over and over again. Can't reiterate that enough, that you got to repeat it over and over again. I would say for myself, this is one thing that actually I would say that stunted my growth as an artist, because I thought it was about like, okay, if I can draw it, I can move on to the next thing, right? But that's not how it works, right? Just because you can look at it and draw it, or you get it right in one drawing, say what we was talking about shoulders. So let's say you was drawing a drawing from imagination and you just nailed the shoulders this time. But if you haven't put like extended practice in the shoulder, that doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to nail it every time. So you want to get to where you can consistently get it right every time. But that's all I have for you guys today. I will catch you on the next one. Just remember, you want to keep proving to yourself that you can actually draw it, right? Just keep proving to yourself. But I will catch you on the next one. As always, I'm glad to be in your service, and peace.